Welcome back to Simple Human Design. I'm Charlie, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how you can embrace your weird, let your freak flag fly, and just be you, just be unique. And this is coming from someone who definitely used to not, be weird or, try and, I don't know, be a bit different. And this is really where the amazing system of human design can come in. Okay, so I'm going to take you through a little bit of my own story and a little bit of something that you can look at in your own chart to help you understand how unique and how weird you actually truly are. So let's get started. So let's talk about human design as a whole to start off with. It is a system that you can use to decondition yourself away from who you thought you were, and it can help you to live your true life. You can make decisions in your own unique way, and even like the way that your mind works, the way that your body works, everything about it is unique. But what we have in this world is we have society. So whether that is, generational, sort of like pressure or trauma, etc., that has been handed down to us from our, parents, grandparents, etc. We have our school teachers, we have government, society, media, and in the last 2 decades, it's been social media as well. And all of this stuff really, especially when there's like influencers out there, and influencers can be, religious leaders, they can be, the Kim Kardashians of this world. They can be anything really. Influencers can be anyone. But all of these people, they are sitting there saying to us, oh, you should do this, you should do that. Or you should act like this, or wear this, or do your hair like this because this is a trend. And there's an awful lot of that around us. And I think there's a lot of good things to be said about conditioning, but we do live in a world with a high rate of mental health issues, and those mental health issues actually can, in a lot of cases, come down to instances where people just don't feel seen, they don't feel heard, they don't have friendships, they don't have family. And I think really it's all about how trapped they feel. And this is me included as well. It's not just like people who are manic depressive, it can be people who have anxiety, etc. You can really feel trapped in this kind of world where you just don't feel like you belong. And why human design is so amazing is because it really gives you the strength to stand in the conviction of who you are as this amazing, unique, wonderful person with these very unique strengths and gifts and, things that you love to do. And it's really easy using the human design system to just be you, just to release the sort of, I guess like the constraints of society, release those, conditioning, release the, oh, you must do it this way and oh, you must do it that way. And yeah, human design just helps you to, be you. And imposter syndrome, or, whatever you want to call it, I know there's a lot of, different terms for imposter syndrome, but imposter syndrome can just fall away when you know who it is you are through human design or astrology or personality test, whatever is good for you. When you know who you are, yeah, you can just go, thanks, but no thanks. And one of the things I'm going to get into in a second is individual circuitry. And one of the sort of mantras for individual circuitry in the human design body graph is thank you very much for the advice, but I'm going to do it my way anyway. And that I think is something that we can all use and take a look at, regardless of how much individual circuitry you have in your own chart. So, great time to dive into what individual circuitry is. So, in the human design body graph, actually, maybe I should grab my chart here for. Here we go. I had it at hand. So, in the human design body graph, there are many channels that are connecting the centers. Okay, if you're watching on YouTube, or sorry, if you're listening on a podcast app, I'm holding up on YouTube my chart, or not my chart, a chart. So what we have here is we have, various different channels, etc., going from center to center. Now, depending on what channel it is, that channel has its own unique strength and gift and sort of like nuance that comes along with your personality anyway. So, this channel here is a channel of emoting, and that has a particular strength and just a part of you, actually quite a big part of you because it's a channel. But you've also got, other channels as well. So if you look here on, the solar plexus, there are three different ways the solar plexus can be connected to the root. And this particular chart has it connected through the middle channel. Okay, so a lot of the channels that are in the middle of the body graph. So this one here obviously is in the middle because you've got two either side, and then that one's not in the middle, but this one would be. So anything that's in the middle, that is individual circuitry. Okay. Now this individual circuitry comes with its own different nuances and, little extra bits that come with your personality. And the other, channels in the circuitry, they also have a different nuance to you as well. They have collective and they also have tribal as well. And then from there, each of those, bits of circuitry, they even just drop down into even more, even different, even more nuance as well. So when I look at your chart, it's not just about, oh, you have this, channel here or you have this channel here. Actually, it's all about what is that energy that sort of like connects you? What is that energy that sort of, mainly comes out in you? Who are you here to really be based on the type of energy that shows in your body graph? It's amazing, right? So I'm talking about individual circuitry specifically today. So individual circuitry is literally kind of as it sounds. It is somebody who is highly unique and highly individual and very, very independent as well. And this is someone who doesn't really want help from other people. They've probably been brought up in such a way that, they are just, they just go off and do whatever it is that they want. And they don't necessarily need to wait around for other people. So individual circuitry also comes with a very unique, weird way of looking at the world. And when I say weird, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way. It's a very wonderful, unique sort of like energy that you have. And I actually have in my chart, I have two channels that are individual circuitry. And I only have two channels in my chart. So when you look at my chart, any reader will just go, bang, okay, you've got these two channels. This is what they mean. But also don't forget that they are in individual circuitry, which means you're weird, which means you're freaky. And I actually have a human design teacher who says it's all about letting your freak flag fly. That's where I get it from. And really, this kind of energy, if you have this in your chart, you can really start to see in your life where other people think that you're weird or you are doing something weird and unique and wonderful. And you can start to embrace that. Okay. Now, for me personally, I have always had sort of like two instances in my life, in my sort of day-to-day life, where I do feel feel like I'm being weird. One of them is where if I meet somebody new or if I meet somebody for the first time, I feel in my body a little bit like uncomfortable. And that's kind of part of, being an introvert and just meeting someone new for the first time. And I feel like I give off this kind of weird kind of energy. And then I sort of settle down a little bit and then, everything becomes a lot less weird or strange. The other time that it shows up in my life as well is sometimes I will say something and the reaction, or even like the micro sort of like reactions that I get from people when I've said it, I feel as though they are thinking that I am weird. Okay. Or they might even say it. They might even say, Charlie, that was really weird. And actually, I've kind of come to embrace it now. I've kind of come to know that even though I don't think it's weird, that the people that are looking and, watching me, etc., they might think I'm weird, and that's okay. And that's the weird thing about funny that I should say that. So weird thing about the individual circuitry is that sometimes you don't think you are weird, but when you are out there and you've got that reaction of your audience or the person in front of you, they think you're weird. You're like, well, I think I'm normal, actually. So that's a little bit of a nuance for the individual circuitry as well. So, how can you find out if you have any individual circuitry in your body graph? So, first of all, I want you to get open your body graph and I want you to take a look at your channels to start off with. So, a channel, don't forget, is where it connects one center to another. So, take a look at the centers that you've got defined. So, if you've got head and ajna defined, for example, that's one of your channels there. Okay. Now, it's quite difficult across the body graph for me to show you, oh, this is individual circuitry, this is individual circuitry. But most of the time, when you've got three channels that are connecting a center together, the center, the middle channel is the one that is individual. Okay, so down here, we've got three, and then the individual one is in the middle. Here we've got three, and the individual one would be in the middle. There's a couple of others in the chart as well, because around this kind of area, it kind of gets a little bit confusing. But there's a couple of others here as well that have individual circuitry, and then they also have slightly different changing sort of attributes as well. So, if you are struggling to know whether you have individual circuitry or not, pop me an email or a DM on Instagram with your chart, just your body graph like this. It doesn't have to be your birth details or anything, and I will tell you what circuitry you have, whether you have the individual one or not. There's another thing that I also look at as well, and that is the gates that make up your incarnation cross. So I look at those gates to see what kind of energy that incarnation cross emanates, because your incarnation cross makes up about 70% of your overall sort of personality. So there's a lot of nuance to go in there, but like I said, if you are interested in having a look at what individual circuitry you have, please just drop me a DM and I will let you know. So, thank you very much for joining me on this episode of the Simple Human Design podcast. Let me know how weird you feel. Let me know how different you feel as well. And I will see you on the next time on the Simple Human Design podcast.